Good morning. This is Breakfast with Louise Minchin and Bill Turnbull.
It's just coming up to 7:30, and let's remind you of our main news stories here this morning. A massive storm extending from Florida to Canada has hit the east coast of the United States, creating a record 4-metre tidal surge in New York and claiming at least 13 lives.
Floodwater.
And we'll speak to our correspondents both in New Jersey and New York about Superstorm Sandy throughout the programme here this morning for you.
In other news this morning, women offered breast screening in the UK will be given new information about the risks and benefits after scientists concluded that thousands of patients have unnecessary treatment every year. A panel of
Syrian opposition activists say the government has launched its heaviest air raid since it started using warplanes earlier this year. The opposition group, the Syrian...
A man who killed 6 people, including his wife and children, in Jersey has been sentenced to 30 years in prison. Damien Serchovsky.
The search is continuing for a British schoolboy who disappeared on a holiday island off the south of France during a severe storm. Pierre Barnes. After travelling 123 million miles through space at some speed, the retired space shuttle Endeavour goes on. It is 7:33 and Sally's been looking at the sport for us. Very good morning again.
Yeah, can you believe it? Another racism story rumbles on in football. It really is the last thing that the sport needed at the moment. I can confirm to you that the FA on Sunday. Where are we today? Tuesday. So obviously they're not expecting Sandy, the storm.
Presumably all the
exactly. At the moment, they're saying no planned changes to the route.
Okay.
But they have an official drawing of the finish line. They paint the finish line blue the Thursday before the marathon. That's already been delayed. So we'll keep you posted.
There could be some water hazards as well, I suppose.
Very good point, Sally. Thank you very much.
Keep across that one. Thanks very much, Sally.
The drive for cleaner motoring has resulted in modern cars emitting far less fumes, but the knock-on effect of that is that people are paying less in road tax. So
one idea being suggested by ministers for discussion is a dual road tax, which would mean you'd pay less if you agreed to stay off the motorways and major roads. Charlotte Leeming has been looking at the options.
Good morning. Morning to you both.
Good morning.
Should we just start with the sort of basics here? How do you think it could work? So the idea being that you pay less if you don't take the A roads and motorways. Is that a workable idea, in your view?
It's workable in...
For or against?
Well, I'm for a reform, because I think actually the way it is at the moment, well, I could, but then
It's a very complicated idea, isn't it? Lee says it's a stupid idea. It would clog up the minor roads while leaving the speedy routes free for the better off. Do you think that's what would happen, David, that lots of people think, I'm not paying...
More for motorways, and just for motorways alone, let alone main roads, the number recognition camera work that would be needed for that would be enormous, surely. I mean, it costs...
Well, they're talking of subcontracting that.
People make the point that you kind of already do pay as you go duty, aren't you, every time you fill up your car?
Well, I think, I mean...
You're talking about checking people's mileometers every year to see how many miles they've actually driven on all sorts of roads.
I think...
Their MOT, they could check it, and that would be simpler, wouldn't it? Every single exit or every single entry ramp onto the motorways. Onto every motorway.
You'd have about the idea. Karen says, great idea, really, dual road tax. We don't have motorways in Cornwall. So, you know, for some people, it would work out, the system, wouldn't it?
It's a good point. And I mean, you know, for some...
There's a special fee to use the motorways every year in Switzerland. Is that the case? And does it work?
Yes.
It works. Amanda, somebody, I think it was on Twitter, suggested that you mentioned that your major driving is the school run, etc. And of course, you know, that is a large part of the congestion problems that people like you get.
Therefore, the road tax revenue goes down, and therefore they...
Mileage still in this debate, wouldn't you say?
Certainly.
We're never going to be better off, are we?
Thank you both very much.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your emails and tweets, etc. Gator says the proposed road tax scheme is just another money-making measure from fines. Setting it up will be expensive too, not logical. Thank you. You can keep sending them in. We'll try and read some more later. 14 minutes to 8. This is Breakfast. These are the main stories this morning. At least what's going on in America. Morning, Carol. Thanks very much. Unsettled. Is that how you felt when you were doing your performance for Children in Need last night? Ones as well as white ones? Oh, Carol, thank you very much. 10 to 8. This week, the taxman is going to start sending out letters to households warning about changes to child benefit. Steph's got more. Morning.
Yes, morning to you both. I'm still trying to picture Carol in a onesie now. Don't you think she should have been wearing one as well?
I think she should do a weather in a onesie.
Yeah, definitely. Let's get us on for now.
Thank you, Steph. See you later, a little bit later. We were talking about dual road tax, weren't we?
Yes, yeah, just a couple of quick comments about that. John says, tax on fuel may be unpopular, but it's cheap to collect, hard to avoid and proportionate to mileage as opposed to the dual fuel tax idea.
Yes, and Edwina, lots of you saying the same thing actually. Edwina saying just get rid of the road tax and put it on fuel. Therefore, those who use the roads most pay the most. Simple.
Ian says we already pay too much tax. Raising road tax again, though, would force people off the road. Look how high fuel tax is already. David says a two-tier tax is another one against those who work.
Thank you very much for getting in touch this morning. Let's let you know what's coming up on the programme a bit later.
Generation.
I see, you're clever.
Worked it out in the end. Time now to get news, travel and weather where you are.
See you at 8.
Hello, this is Breakfast with Louise Minchin and Bill Turnbull.
Superstorm Sandy batters the east coast of the United States. In a few minutes' time, we'll be talking to the mother of Ben Needham. You'll remember that Ben disappeared in 1991 on the Greek island of Kos. His mum, Kerry, believes he's still alive and has just returned from the island where the search for him goes on.
And Carol has the weather. Very much.
Very good morning. Our main story for you this morning. At least 13 people have died in a powerful storm which has brought flooding, hurricane-force winds and heavy rain to the east coast of the United States and Canada.
Many parts of New York City are underwater. Electricity supplies to the area are being shut off because of the risk of flooding. The city's transport authority said the subway system has never faced a disaster as devastating as this. And the states of New Jersey and Connecticut also severely affected, as Sean Lord reports.
In other news this morning, thousands of women are being diagnosed with cancer every year who might never have become seriously ill, according to a new report commissioned by the government and Cancer Research UK.
It says screening for breast cancer prevents more than 1,000 women dying every year, but 3 times as many women are being treated unnecessarily.
Let you know, in about half an hour's time, we're going to speak to the National Cancer Director and also a former breast cancer patient about what they think about that.
Now, 7 minutes past 8. Syrian opposition activists say the government there has launched its heaviest air raid since it started using warplanes earlier this year. The opposition group...
Man who killed 6 people, including his wife and children in Jersey, has been sentenced to 30 years in prison. Damien, a group of MPs have expressed concern about what will happen to NHS organisations that go bankrupt under the new health reforms. The report says there's a lack of clarity from the government about what could happen.
Britain's first 4G mobile phone service goes live this morning across a number of cities. The EE network, after hurtling through space, travelling 123 million miles. Let's look at a background to the case with Kimberly Hunt.
For him for so many years now, and it must be really difficult every time there's another search, another sighting, and also
just get in touch with either the British.
Apologies for the coughing.
That's all right. No
I know that every year you mark his birthday, don't you?
yeah, we always buy birthday.
Kerry, thank you very much indeed for coming in.
No problem.
And if anybody hears anything, I'm sure they'll...
It is 17 minutes past 8, coming up on the programme today.
You can explain why Sandy in America is so much of a bigger storm than anything I've seen there before.
Good morning.
Thank you very much, Carol. See you later.
21 minutes past 8. One result of the civil war in Syria has been to force hundreds of thousands of its people into poverty. There are limited food supplies and shortages of just about everything, not least medicine.
Well, one organisation trying to help is Hand in Hand for Syria, a group mainly made up of NHS doctors, nurses and other staff. And later today, they'll be setting off on a long overland journey to the Middle East with a cargo of food, clothing and medical supplies. At the group's HQ right now is Katie Rowlett, when they're about to set off. Good morning. Thank you.
Coming up, the BBC News Channel has the latest news from home and abroad.
But here on Breakfast...
Right now, though, let's get news, travel and weather where you are.
See you in a minute.